Miss Martin Muses. Welcome to Miss Martin Muses, where we muse upon what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. Well, this is something that mostly made me laugh. And, and maybe inadvertently cry, but not for the right reasons. And it is all the Draculas. Now, I love Dracula. I have great memories of all of them, but I definitely revisiting the three of them: the Dracula 1931, the 1958 with Christopher Lee, and the Bram Stoker's Dracula. It definitely was a trip through an interesting time warp, for lack of a better word. Where we have once again with us, all the way from a southern state, it is none other than Maury.
Hello.
Hello, how is it over there?
Hot.
It's hot. Okay,
It's
it's hot.
hot.
Now they're from the future, but only from an hour in the future. So they can't really tell us too much whether or not we have Armageddon. And also from a southern state, it is Eddie.
Good evening.
Good. Oh, nice. Well played. Well played. Well, um, I this is the first time that I'm doing this with a bit of a slideshow thing, so hopefully it will not be a big, huge disaster. But first, let's say hi to our chat. Say hi to our chat. Lady Toriel is here. There is an elf in the house. There is an elf in the house, and she says, "Hello, Miss Martin Muses," and she gives us a purple heart and a shamrock. We have Archer Collin. Archer Collin, afternoon and evening. I think you are from the future. Let me know if you are, if I'm incorrect or correct about that. And Archer Collins says, Christopher Lee is Dracula for me. Hammer rules. I'll tell you what. Yeah, well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that because I do have incredibly fond memories of Christopher Lee. I mean, he's a man. I mean, they just don't make him like that anymore. But so we're before we get to Christopher Lee, we're gonna talk about the more classic one, and that is none other than the first spoken screen version of Dracula, and it came out in 1931. It was based on a stage play. It was a stage play, and one of the first talking movie. Oh fudge! What did I just do? Can you all see me? Okay. Oh, okay. Never mind. I pressed a button. I just killed the whole stream. No, I did it all right. And so it started Bela Lugosi, who became like the Dracula. I think for everyone, the stereotypical one. The Count Dracula from Sesame Street, I think, is very much based on him.
Yeah.
It was released in February 14th in 1931. Directors were Todd Browning and Carl Freund. It again, it starred Bela Lugosi and some other people who I've never ever heard of, and it was a huge hit at the time, and still stays with us in our consciousness. Now, oh, I haven't rolled yet. Oh dear me. Well, for Fred's sake, my now everything's. I'm completely falling apart. Let me see who gets to go first to tell us a general overview of what they feel about this movie. And it is Eddie. Eddie, you rolled, so go buy a lottery ticket. Let's do it.
Okay. It's a rather short film compared to the movies today. What is it, an hour and 10, an hour and 15, something like that. Yeah. It's for the time and for the audience that it was intended for, it's really terrific. I mean, it really is, and it's still a good. It has its own merit today. It was one of the early talkies, so it has no musical soundtrack because the producers felt like the audience would not want to hear music coming that they didn't have a reason for in the film. So it's very quiet. They felt like the audience would be looking for the source of whatever music was being played. So the only music you have in it is when they're at the theater and there's music going on stage. So it's kind of interesting. So it's a very quiet film. It's somewhat slow. It's a slow build, and there was so much of the story that they really couldn't express or get into. So it feels a little fragmented for me, but all in all, terrific. It was good to see it. I've seen bits and pieces of it, but just sit and watch it from start to finish. It's been a while, so it was good. I enjoyed it. I'll have to watch it again. And the sets stayed in use for years after that. So the huge, castle foyer and the big thing, the staircase, all that got used in a bunch of different movies. So.
Yeah, it definitely came off to me like a stage, like a set in a stage, and and you could even see how they reused them within the movie. Maury, what'd you think?
Well, I think the sets are just beautiful, and like Renfield.
Yeah, that's right.
He's so insane.
That poor bastard.
That laugh. Oh, he was just hilarious. And yeah, they do skip over big chunks of the story.
Yeah, one part. Sorry.
Yeah, and then they had like the characters different from the book. Like Nina is Dr. Seward's daughter in this one, and Lucy isn't Lucy Wisteria, she's Lucy Weston.
Yeah. Well, and it was set actually in the 1930s. It wasn't set in the 1890s, which is what you're used to seeing. Yeah.
Now, I heard that they had planned originally to do a direct adaptation of the novel, but the budgetary constraints, it was just going to be an outrageously expensive, unproven thing. So they opted for a more scaled down version of a stage play that was working at the time.
Yeah. Well, one thing that really struck me of what was missing was they actually never were able to show somebody being attacked, and I thought they got around it very clever. Like you would see him sneaking up on Renfield, and then it would cut away, or he did the whole cape thing, like where he just enveloped her in a cape, and then even the stake scene, you just saw him with the stake, and then it cut away, and you just heard him kind of going as he died. Because it couldn't do it. And they didn't even show Lucy being killed. We knew that she was out killing all those kids, so part of me is like, dang it, Van Helsing, are you going to do something? Because I think the sensibilities of the time, they just couldn't show a woman doing that, being killed like that.
Right.
And I did read, and I haven't been able to completely fact check it, that they even released it as a silent film. That there was actually a silent film version, because back then a lot of theaters still didn't have the
capacity to play audio.
Capacity to play it, yes. And when I'm saying unconfirmed, because I read it in Wikipedia.
Yeah.
And Wikipedia is not always the best source. But I did read up though about how he was genuinely frightening to people, Bela Lugosi, and I want to show this picture here. This look here.
Oh yeah.
Every time that happened, I burst out laughing. Okay, I was like, because it'd be like they'd just be like, "Oh, it's Mr. Dracula," and then he's just sitting there doing like that intense stare, and he did it several times. But I learned that actually scared the that was like terrifying.
Yeah.
Because they hadn't seen anything like that on the
Yeah, exactly. He was an exotic person with a weird accent and just so unique and unlike anything in their world.
Yeah, and he's sitting there, and his stare is so intense, and the suggestion of what was going on, because they couldn't show it, but we knew that he was coming and biting people's necks and draining their blood. So, and I loved it that we got to hear his classic lines of, the children of the night, what music they make.
Yes.
And doesn't he do the wine one?
Yeah,
I never drink wine.
I never drink wine.
Yes. and that can terrify you. And I mean, I'll say this. I'm going back here because I want to say hi to some people in a second. That as a little child, hell yes, this would terrify me. Absolutely terrify me. Yeah. Yep. And the fact that he did such a good job of portraying the living dead, that was what freaked out people.
Yeah.
A lot. So and it was very well shot. Now the dude who directed it, that Todd Browning, I think, this was, I think, only one of the few talkies he ever did. He was mostly a silent film director. I got a few more pictures here, but before I do, hello Shane, thank you for being here. Great to see you. Thank you, Jacob Ironside, Brian McCann, Dracula. Yes, we love Dracula here at Miss Martin Muses. Archer, I think I said Archer Collins. If I repeat myself, forgive me. We have Colin. Hey, I'm late as normal. And we also saw, who did I miss? Who's listening from the lab? If I missed you, I since it's Chris Anth is listening to us from the lab. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. It's always good. And anyone that is watching on the replay, if you haven't already liked, shared, and subscribed, please go ahead and do so. Archer Collins says it's clever the way they managed to light just his eyes.
Yep.
Yeah. And let's see some other comments. Okay, Brian McMahon says budget of $341,141, box office 10 million plus. Ticket cost 5 to 25 cents. Yeah, that tells you how popular this movie was. She Nolan says, I saw this when I was 7. My dad got me to watch it one Halloween. And Sultan Not Fame is here. Hello, I'm late. Everyone's saying hello. Yes. And another iconic moment. Look at that. Yeah. And again, I burst out laughing, but I can see everyone going, oh my gosh, fainting in the theater. The prey. And he did a good job of showing like the animal, because that there are animal characteristics.
Yeah.
I didn't get a slide of it, but oh my gosh, that bat that was on a string that went away.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
Soul Assassin is here. Dracula has style.
Yes,
he does. And again, the sexy thing of it, that I think some later Draculas, I can say how I can see the sexy, but put yourself out. 1930s chick, yeah. He probably got, if he wanted to, he got everything he wanted. The fiend of the night. Yeah, look at that. Some other characters. Oh, look at these gals.
Oh, there they are.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Oh,
yeah. Another classic image that we have, and that they couldn't show. It was described in the book when they were preying on Jonathan Harker, different character, but again, they just couldn't show them. But they showed them looking creepers. But just looking at this picture, look at them. I mean, yeah, that's scary. Looking at their expressions and how they are, and the animal-like quality.
Yep.
And
they're watching their prey.
And while there might be some guy's fantasy to have 3 chicks come at him, not like this.
No.
Oh gosh, they look so adorable.
Aren't they cute?
Yeah, but look again, the lighting, the staging here. And Archer Collins says, if I might paraphrase Carrie always, unlike other Draculas, I speak with an Yes, yes, he does. And our Van Helsing. Yeah, classic scene. We're sitting there with the cross, and Dracula's doing his cape thing, like no. Iconic moments.
Yeah.
And what is it? The cigarette case.
Yes, with the mirror.
The mirror, and he just like knocks it out like a psycho. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry.
Boy,
how impolite of me." And my personal favorite, there he is.
There he is.
Yeah, Renfield. Laugh.
Yeah. Well, in a way, it was almost, I can understand a narrative, the narrative reasons to make him be the one at the beginning, because it was in the book that Jonathan almost did lose his mind. Jonathan Harker, he didn't obviously, but that could be what drove Renfield crazy, was making him eat bugs and all that, and made him end up in a nut house. So there he is. I mean, he definitely had silent movie vibes all over.
Oh yeah,
him.
Absolutely.
And look at Van Helsing, like, dude, don't touch me.
Yeah, right. No, hands off the suit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, he was perfect. And then here we go. I think I got another one. There it is.
Oh, there it is. There's this. This is his "Will you go out with me" look.
Yeah.
Yes or no?
I love him.
Guys.
Love him to death. Yes. Yeah. But again, I can see how that was genuinely frightening. This guy who's eating bugs. These are the kind of things that they didn't really show in movies before. I mean, this is the kind of movie that they'd be like, it's indecent,
Exactly.
You can't let the children see this. Yeah. Oh gosh, Soul Assassin says Renfield thinks Van Helsing is one of the Dracula wives with those hand placements.
Yeah, it looked like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Boosh McFadden, hello Boosh, says that look that says, "Guess what I'm hiding and where." We got some perv action here. He looks unsleepy. Yeah. Okay. No. Fun stuff. Now, help me out, though. I'm going to bring this to both of you. At the very end, when Jonathan, they save Mina, and they go, "Are you coming with me?" He goes, like, "No, I'll be along presently." Van Helsing said that. And I wait, and then the movie ends. I'm like, what's the dude going to do? What was he doing? Does anyone know? I don't know.
Had he like killed Dracula yet? I don't remember.
Well, no, Dracula had already been dead. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe he had to go to the bathroom. I don't know.
Maybe
so. But it was really a weird way of ending it. It's like, no, I'll be along presently. Unless, and I just don't know enough about the background. Maybe that was implied that he's going to go take care of
the wives.
The wives.
Or Lucy. Remember, she's still out killing children, babies, and the boofer lady. Okay, Archer Collins says, but being Jewish, it doesn't work. Then the devilish looking night cover says, then your cause is lost, for I believe. Oh, that's the thing from the comic. I'm sorry. Okay. Archer Collins says, one of my favorite Dracula moments actually comes from an X-Men comic and explores an interesting aspect of the allergy to the cross. Okay. Kitty Pryde tries to fend off Dracula with a cross, but being Jewish, it doesn't work. Got it here. And then the devilish nightcrawler says, but then your cause is lost, for I believe. Oh, you know what? I have a very important phone call I need to take, so I'm going to mute myself, and I'm going to make you all talk.
Alrighty.
Do we move to the next? Are we out of time on this one? Do we move to the next movie?
Well, we can talk about. We did a bonus. We did Love at First Bite.
Oh, we did, didn't we? Love at First Bite. That was hysterical. Yeah.
And they sort of did the Bela Lugosi thing.
They did. Well, they did. Yeah, George Hamilton looked just like him.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and then the crazy Renfield eating bugs.
Right, crazy Renfield eating bugs. That was Artie Johnson from Laugh In.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So, oh golly, Pete. Okay, so they our next one, just a little prequel for our next one. They had to add they couldn't call it Dracula. They decided not to call it Dracula because this one, the 1931, apparently was still being booked in theaters at the time. So they rebranded it a little bit, and it was an interesting take on it. We'll get to that when Teresa joins us. So,
and Rufus he joined us. My cat. He is laying down on the computer.
He's a big Dracula fan.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well,
and
also,
we can't respond to the texts.
I
can we?
know.
Oh.
Well, also in Love and First Flight, they also do the cigarette case thing.
Yes, they did. They sure did.
Rosenberg.
Yeah. Rosenberg, who was Richard Benjamin.
Yeah.
It was hysterical. Oh, well, so it was absolutely hilarious. He was going to chase off Dracula. And he's reaching and he pulls out a Star of David.
Yeah.
It's like, that doesn't work, dude.
It was the other
crap.
one.
And he goes, oh crap, it's the other one.
Yeah, it's sort of what the guy was saying up here in the comic, that the Star of David didn't work.
Nicolas Cage is doing
I
Dracula?
know.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, he is.
Oh God.
No, it wasn't Star of David. It was like the guy was Jewish and he's trying to work the cross.
Yeah.
I wonder if it had worked in the comic book since he was Jewish, if he used the Star of David since he believed in
represented his own faith.
Yeah, representing his own faith because he believed in that.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah.
I am so sorry. I under any other circumstance, and I'll tell you all off screen later. I had to take that phone call. I was like,
okay.
Don't they know I've got this going? I'm hoping y'all said nice things.
Yes.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, we sort of compared it.
We
one with Love at First Bite, the one we watched last night.
We watched last night with,
Because they do, because George Hamilton did the Bela Lugosi.
yeah, he did
thing
that
with
type of Dracula.
the waiter,
the head waiter look.
and they did the cigarette case.
Yeah, that whole shtick. So,
Oh,
yes. Artie Johnson from Laugh-In played Renfield. He was hilarious too.
Nice. Good. You all are the best. Thank you very much. We have the best chat and the best guests that Ms. Morton uses. Hopefully that'll never happen again, but you never know. Okay. And Salty Texas is coming since I've been gone. Hello, Salty Texas. Thank you for being here. And now we're gonna do our ratings before we move on to the next Dracula. So let me roll to see if how the rice. It is you, Maury. It is you go first. What would you rate this movie?
I'll rate it. I don't want to rate it anything under a 10, even though, it's classic. It's Bela Lugosi. He's like the best Dracula. He's right there at the tippy top. And then you got Renfield. Oh my gosh.
I could look at him all day.
He's so funny.
So maniacal.
Yeah.
The silent part during the movie, they don't have any background music or any background noise. That's kind of odd.
Mm-hmm.
But
I know what you're saying. Mm-hmm. It works for me though when I realized, only because I just recently watched the new Downton Abbey movie, how they had reiterated how new talkie movies were at this point, so they were in that in between. Yeah. Oh. Okay.
So 9.9 or 10.
All right, fair enough. And how about you, Eddie?
I'd give it a 9. Yeah, definitely. You can't overlook the datedness of it, but given its place in history and it's good storytelling and the use of audio and so forth, yeah, I give it a 9. I enjoyed it. I'll watch it again.
Mm-hmm. Yay. Well, cool. I got to give it a 10 out of 10 like Maury. It's just really hard not to because, first of all, there was no dead time for me. The presentation, the acting, the iconicness, if that's a word, of it all. And I guess my only complaint was Van Helsing going, "I'll be along presently." What kind of an ending is that? What kind of an ending is that? What's gonna happen? Yeah, so,
I gotta go kill some other people.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have had that burrito for lunch today.
Yeah,
so
I'll catch up. I'll have to catch up with you.
Yeah, that's the truth here. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, we're gonna move on to the next one, Dracula 1958, with the Hammer Dracula, the first pairing of Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. In America, this one had a different title. What was it? The Nightmare of Dracula? I forget.
Horror of Dracula.
Yeah, the Horror of Dracula.
Horror Dracula.
Yeah. So in America, you'll often see it as that, but it was originally titled Dracula in the other countries, and it was directed by Terrence Fisher. Screenplay by Jimmy Sangster. It was a huge success, a budget of £81 and budgeted worldwide 3.5 million, and starring none other than Peter Cushing as Dr. Van Helsing and the incomparable Christopher Lee as Count Dracula, and not to forget John Van Eysen, aka Alfred from the 1999 and its sequels, Batman. John as John. No, wait, that's not Jonathan Harker. Did he play Jonathan Harker? Okay, no, it's not Jonathan Harker. Forget everything I just said. It's not him. Jonathan. Okay, you know why I got confused was because in this version they mess around with who is who.
Oh no, they changed everybody.
Yeah, they messed it all up. Is Michael Gough or Goughh? Oh my gosh, from Batman, who is Alfred? Yeah, because they had it that Jonathan Harker he was the one. He did go to visit Dracula, but he was actually killed, and then
they had it where he was already him and Dr. Van Helsing were already vampire hunting.
Yeah, and. Exactly, and then Lucy, or was it Mina? You see, they messed up the names in that one as well. I think it was Lucy was his fiance, and she's the sister of the doctor.
Yeah,
who wasn't in the
Arthur Homewood.
Yes, Arthur. Thank you. Gosh, so I was confused as F because I've also been rereading the book, and I'm like, so this one. Out of the three, I think departs the most from the actual story.
Yeah, they kind of make their own thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and but what for me makes this so cool is, of course, none other than come on, look at that. Christopher Lee was an amazing Dracula.
Yeah.
The first time I saw him being Dracula, I think I was around 4th or 5th grade, and it was one of the horrible ones, the one from the 70s, like Dracula when it's set in the 1970s. But
Dracula AD.
Yeah, scared. I think it was AD, whatever it was, but he still scared the living crap out of me. And the way he's so relentless.
I'm gonna kill everybody.
Exactly.
And starve myself.
Oh, gee whiz. It was nuts. Let me see. I'm gonna roll here. Oh, Maury. Okay. So what are your initial thoughts or more thoughts?
Yeah, I like how they try to make it their own story because they were going to, I guess, were they going to plan to do a series to begin with, or I don't know. But anyway, they made it their own. And so you have Lucy Homewood as Jonathan's fiance, and her brother's Arthur Homewood, who is married to Mina.
Okay, gosh, I was so yes, I know. Thank you. I know, 'cause like, how dare you mess with it?
I know. I had to write it down myself. It's like I need to keep it all straight.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, and Eddie, what are your overall?
Well, I was least familiar with this one. I believe I've seen it, but been a while, and it's. I love the fact that you get the red eyes, you get actual fangs, you get that they can actually get into that kind of thing. And I love the sunlight burning up thing. That's just terrific for me. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. And It's such a departure, though. It's more like a based on than an adaptation. I found the castle to be somewhat little. It's not like the big foreboding thing up on the hill. It seemed to be much smaller with this cute little bridge, going into it and all. More like a B&B,
They rented it for Airbnb. It's a country villa.
Exactly. There we go. Villa.
Yeah, kind of stay a while, even longer, even.
But it was good. It was on its own. It's good if you don't compare it to if you're not looking for the story from the novel. Then, it was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I like the way that you mentioned, the iconic red eyes and the fangs, and the way at the end, the way he was killed. That I guess was really like shocking. You were thinking it's 1958, and that they even had to edit part of it because it was so awful.
Yeah. They upped their special effects game.
Yeah, considerably.
Yeah, Lady Toriel says Lee and Cushing are just the best always. And hello
Oh,
to
yeah.
everyone coming in. Yes. Ted shouldn't be here, and so is if I miss anyone, Sean Sue. Yes, absolutely. They're iconic. And I want to bring in I'll bring in a picture in a second. The thing with the Hammer movie, says Archer Collin, was that you always knew that they might as well have put a James Bond style line at the end. Dracula returning.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Let me go on. Oh, and there's the other one. Look at that. That was so cool.
Yeah.
He took the two candlesticks to make a makeshift cross. Gosh, and he was badass. I really
definitely so.
Oh, he was so good.
I always remember him in Star Wars, and he looks at Leia and he goes, "You're far too trusting." After he blows her planet all to pieces.
Oh yeah. Sad it shouldn't be. Horror of Dracula is my second favorite adaptation because of Christopher Lee's performance, the Frank Langella version.
The sexy vampire.
Yeah, he was the first one to really play
play that up.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, and that was actually kind of sort of an original choice, but I wanted to go with the 58 one. Partly because Christopher Lee, but I like it because we're looking at three different eras, and they're literally 30 years apart. So you had like right out of the silent era, then right going into the 60s where they were starting to get a little more risque, and then 92 where they just go
nuts.
Brian McCann says Christopher Lee was a scary dude. I met him in the 90s.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, the horror stories of World War II, he could tell to fans of things he actually did in the war. He said it made horror films seem like comedies to him.
Yeah.
You want to see real horror. Yeah. Well, there's that famous line, and it's true, that moment that happened in the Return of the King, which you can only see in the extended edition, when he's supposed to stab Wormtongue stabs him in the back, and the script had said that he's supposed to gasp, and Christopher Lee was like, when you stab someone in the back, they don't gasp. Yeah. And then they were all like, how do you know? Because, he didn't how do you know that? Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I mean, it kind of makes sense biologically too, because you're poking a hole in your lung. If you're going in the chest, so it'd be like deflating, so you wouldn't have enough breath to gasp.
Yeah.
No, that's true. Bush McFadden said Saruman versus Grand Moff
Excellent.
Yeah. Peter Cushing wore both slippers on set of Star Wars. He played evil characters, but who liked being comfortable. I would. If no one's showing it.
Yeah, like why wear the boots?
It's still a bit weird for me to see Doctor Who fighting Dracula. I'm not. Was Peter Cushing Doctor Who? I don't know which Doctor Who to whom you're referring. I'll sound ignorant because I don't know much about the Doctor Who's before the new iterations. I think Christopher Lee's performance is enhanced because he actually knew how to kill people in real life. And experience.
Yeah.
Christopher Lee had a hell of a life. Yes, he did. They need to do a bio movie on him.
Man.
When they're talking about the technicality of the crucifixes. Yeah. And sometimes that will vary within the different movies as well. The rules, how that works.
Right. Right.
Oh, he played Doctor Who in 60s movies. Oh, well, there you go. Okay. He was and he was a direct descendant of Charlemagne. That is true. Okay, thank you everyone for helping me out with that and a lot of details about um, his real life. And Soul Substance says his like button shows stream out, y'all. Well, thank you. Yeah, I thought that Cushing, like I said, to me, he is the Van Helsing when I think about that. Yeah, in the same way that I think of Bela Lugosi really being the iconic Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
I got distracted by a few things though, and this was also in the book Dracula when they were doing the blood transfusion, and they're like, "Get some wine," and I'm like, "No, don't get wine after you've given blood." But it was also in the book too because I think they thought wine would revive you, and I'm like, "Dude, no,
there's a blood thinner."
No, that was.
I mean, it has some alcohol to knock you out some more.
Holy moly!
It was like,
well, at college, it was when they had blood drives, you'd go give blood and then go have a beer, and get your butt kicked.
It's like I guess. I know alcohol's a blood thinner.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing that. Like I said, get some juice or some Gatorade.
Get some vitamin B.
Yeah. Also, I was a little bit disturbed. I mean, talk about almost a Me Too moment when that one chick who said that she was being held captive by Dracula, and she went over to Jonathan Harker and was like, "Help me! I'm being kept prisoner, and I need to escape." And he's like, "Oh, is it?" He was like very blasé, like, "Oh, is it really that bad?" and all that. I'm like, "Dude, she's being." I was like, "Are you the most insensitive man?" And she's like, "Isn't it enough I just said that I'm being held captive?" And I'm like, "I'm on her side."
Yeah.
What the hell? This is why genuine women's rights movements had to get started. Gee whiz.
And of course, then later on, she's like evil.
She's super evil.
Yeah. Oh boy. And the other part was how dumb was Mina when they were off like trying to find something out about Dracula. I don't know. They were gone. And it's nighttime and she gets a random message. Your husband said, go to this place at night you've never heard of while we've got this the night around. And she's like, I don't know if I should. And it's like, but it is my husband wanting me to go. And I'm like, are you
stupid?
I mean, holy crud. I mean, that's a special kind of special there. Sorry, go ahead.
This Jasper project. There our dog. He's not a bright dog. He's very not. Tries to lights himself on fire with a campfire.
Yeah,
his face right in it.
Yeah, dogs are, you love them, but they're kind of dumb. And Miss Brown Alliance is here. Hello, thank you. Yeah, it was very kind of sexist. Archer Collins says there's actually a connection between Dracula and the Roman Rite becoming the church in Britain. Only because I'm a know-it-all on that kind of stuff. I'd be interested. That's definitely an interesting thought when you're talking about, because Dracula was long after the church in Britain and all that and the Roman Rite. But I'd be interested to maybe hearing more about it. I don't know if you're on Twitter, but send me a link or something. Tad that should be says Archer Collin, yeah, but never mind. Okay, so they're yapping there. Yeah, there's definitely an aspect of Dracula in the story where it's like a perversion of a lot of things in Christianity, a lot of the liturgy, etc. And the whole drinking of the blood to give you eternal life, but it's like a satanic kind of blasphemous thing
Right.
on it, and that's why they hate crucifixes. Crucifixes, holy water,
Right.
communion hosts. The only time I think I've seen them use those was in the 92 one, which we're about to get to. So Archer Collins says Dracula, that's at Whippy, and the Synod of Whippy was where it was decided to go with the Roman over the Celtic in about 600, I think. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying, because he landed there, so maybe there's a connection, but not, well, obviously not literally, because it's not. Yeah, some people are talking about the history and stuff here. I see what you're talking about. I'm crazy, Vladdy. Yeah, he's crazy. Yeah, well, that's the other thing, Vlad the Impaler. Yay. Not very good. All right. Do I have? I do have another picture. The other iconic thing. There you go. That's what I was talking about. Yeah.
Hokey smokes. There you go.
That will keep you up at night. Look at that. I mean, and
wow.
That guy.
Now
Sorry, go ahead.
It said the contacts were not comfortable for him.
Yeah.
And he couldn't see.
Yeah.
But man, is it effective?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yes. That even now could kind of give you nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
It really could.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I like the Hammer films, the Dracula ones, it's like, man, just how much more I could like them if they had just let Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing develop the characters more. Especially Dracula, like all the stuff they could have put in there.
Well, he only had this movie, 16 lines, something like that?
Yeah, then he gets no lines as the series goes on. I was like, let him do something. The guy has all this personal experience.
Yeah. No, I mean, I see exactly what you're saying. Yeah, they leave you wanting more, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Bastards. So, yeah. Can I give a shout out though to when Van Helsing was gonna go and tear down the drapes to bring the sunlight to kill Dracula? He could have been a long jumper and a leaper or something. He should have won an Olympic gold medal. He runs across this dining room table and does a 2-footed jump in the
air. 2 forward somersault, the pike position on the end of the curtains.
It was like, holy crap, man.
And he scores a 9.5 from the East German judge. So
yeah, it was great. I just got that joke and I was reading. I guess Shane says Hagrid passed away. Well, that's may he rest in peace. A certain Madame Bathory. Oh, Bathory. Oh gosh, that crazy chick. Yeah, she if I ever do a thing on serial killers, if that's the one you were referring to, who used to kill her maids and bathe in blood, but it was like,
yeah,
she was crazy. Yeah, another great loss. Okay, well, R.I.P. Yeah, people in the other room were holding up cards with 8.59. Yeah, that's what all the villagers were doing.
Yeah.
Down the road.
That part where Dracula takes Mina and just throws her in the hole and puts a dirt over.
Right. He looks at Van Helsing and says, "Oh crap!" And he just drops her into the hole.
Just throws the dirt over.
Throws a few shovels of dirt over and then takes off.
I know, it sucks to be you.
It sucks to be you. I'm gone.
But a huge shout out to the way they had the inn there. The way it was all covered in garlic and crucifixes everywhere. I thought that was cool, because that's what you would do if Dracula lived down the road.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. If you were one of those people that ran those little religious goods stores, you'd be making out like a bandit. All right. Well, gonna wind this one down. Let's see for our scores, and it is Eddie, what is your out of 10 for this movie?
I'll have to give this one a A 9. Yeah. I'm just a 10. I'm not. It's not perfect, but I just thoroughly enjoyed it, and so yeah, a 9.
Okay, fair enough. How about you, Maury?
Yeah, I'd say same, a 9.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'm going to give it a little bit lower. So no hatred, please, from the chat. I would give it around an 8.5 and 8. Because I don't think that the actual movie was very good. But you got to rate it high for the performances of Cushing and Christopher Lee, as well as what they advanced with some of the special effects and some of, like I said, these horror
Right.
shots and the him melting from the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if I were to sit around and tell people, oh my gosh, you've got to watch this version of Dracula, the only thing I would say is because of Cushing
Yeah.
and Lee. Other than the rest, I thought it was just kind of funny. Though Alfred did a good job. With what he was doing as Dr. Seward, and there were a few cool shots. Also, when Lucy, because she was dumber than a rock, kept opening up the windows, and you would, and you'd look down and see Dracula like just standing there with his big cloak. That was pretty creepy. Yeah. All right. Well, and then we're moving on to something I've got a lot to say about. And I'll tell you what. I rewatched this on the airplane coming back, and I was, first of all, horrified that they didn't edit it. I'm like, shit, I'm on an airplane. I was like covered up the screen on my seat. So, there weren't any children around, but you're like, damn, people, can you please edit some of this stuff? I didn't realize, but it is the falsely named Bram Stoker's Dracula. Because they said this is going to be completely based on the book. And I'm like, bullshit. There was a lot of stuff that obviously was not in the book, though I think the structure of it perhaps was similar.
Yeah, they kept the characters the same as the book.
Yeah. They had Quincy.
And it had some things that were not in the original, but this came out in November of 1992, and I recall it very well. I saw it several times in the theater. I loved it. I thought it was great. I couldn't wait for it and everything. It was released in November 13th, 1992, directed by Francis Ford Coppola, with a score that I thought was amazing by some guy whose name I can't pronounce. And it had Gary Oldman as Dracula, Winona Ryder, Keanu Reeves, totally miscast, but now hilarious, Anthony Hopkins, and Carrie Always. It was like a who's who of some of the actors: Tom Waits, Billy Campbell, Richard E. Grant. So they really got a very good cast and a really good director. It was something else. Eddie, you have rolled again. Please go buy a lottery ticket afterwards.
Okay.
So what are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, I like you. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was as close to the novel as we've seen. The only thing that happened for me with it was it got kind of bogged down in the story that wasn't part of the novel. The story arc with the lover and jumping off the castle and killing herself, and then Winona Ryder's her reincarnated self and all that. That kind of bogged things down a little bit for me. I love, but I also love the fact they did practical effects. There was no CG in it. They had one photographic effect of the blue fire going into the castle, but everything else was shot. They used matte paintings and a lot of just standard stuff, and I really appreciated that. I loved Anthony Hopkins. I thought he was right at the edge of completely insane, and I thoroughly enjoyed his performance. Like you said, Keanu Reeves, maybe a little miscast. I did read that he had just come off of something else and was exhausted and doesn't feel like he gave his best performance. He was just wore out. But to me, he came across very stoic and very controlled. It was in the beginning. He was one of those people that didn't let himself bury too much. He was very dedicated, focused on his purpose. But then, as he goes through the film, he becomes completely unraveled, and at the edge of madness. But I enjoyed it. Yeah, I thought it was really good.
Okay, how about you, Maury?
Yeah, this is like one of my favorites. It's like this one and the Franklin Jenna one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the Beauty and the Beast thing with Mina and Dracula, of course, wasn't in the book, but I don't mind it because I like Beauty and the Beast too. So
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a fan of Beauty and the Beast, of course.
So I really didn't mind it.
Yeah. Well, again, the parts that really got to me was that Winona Ryder weird thing with Mina and him. Every single line was just hurt. I mean, it just really did. It was just like, take me away from all this death.
Yeah, it was a bit much.
Yeah, and just so they went over the top with the sexy stuff, especially with Lucy, like the way they're having Lucy being all dirty. And gosh, what the hell was she wearing? Like, she's minding her own business and she's wearing this big red flame.
Oh my gosh!
Almost S&M thing, and has sex with a wolf. I mean, I'm just like, that was not in the book.
Like, hang on a second here.
Yeah, and they really overplayed the whole sex being bitten thing.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
It really, some people have read into the story that there's a lot of sexual innuendo, but that's the parts that I was just like, I just can't handle that. I just can't handle that. But it was just laughable. It was like, okay, here's where he's trying to be edgy by showing sex. And then here we go. I loved Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
I mean, look at him.
I know. He's like, okay.
Yeah.
I love the shadow effects too during those sequences with him.
It's like his shadow had a mind of its own.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Some of those costumes were, yeah, I was about ready to say these costumes were a little off. Yeah. And this was in the book that he was very old when you first saw him, and then he gets young. So yeah. Look at that happy face. He looks like he's a happy Dracula.
Yeah, the hairdo is really weird.
The hairdo is really, that's bizarre.
Yeah, I don't even know what they were going for there. Yeah,
exactly.
And I guess this is as good a time as any to bring up. I thought Gary Oldman did an amazing performance. It was good. Oh, here we are. Here he is with Keanu Reeves. I thought they did it really well. The vampire chicks, that scene, and then he's just screaming, and he goes crazy, and his hair goes white. That was good. That was good.
Yeah.
And he did the line too. He did the Children of the Night line, and I thought the sets.
Yeah, the sets were great.
The castle looked really good. Looked like it was having some work done on one side. It was really
I wanted to go live in that thing. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. And there he is when he's young. Look at him. He's a hippie.
Got his Johnny Depp look going.
And then they go and take absinthe.
I know.
It's like, we'll all get high. The Green Fairy.
Oh my.
I was like, well, and it was also ridiculous because, again, they were going over the top with the sensuality, and they had like Winona just taking the sugar cube and just slow. I mean,
yeah. That was a bit much.
Yeah. Gary Oldman looks more scary old than young. The reverse photography they did. Oh well, thank you. Yeah. And then here we are. Let's get some melodrama. We need some melodrama. It's like the way she would just go meet him. It's like, did you have a special wardrobe for and hairdresser? It's like, today I'm gonna go see Secret Dracula Man.
My red dress.
Oh my.
Oh yeah, good point. They did talk. Oh yeah, they turned the Dr. Seward into
Yes.
a druggie,
Mhm.
and I'm
Yep.
like, really.
Yeah, he was exploring madness.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was definitely strung out though.
And though they did the insane asylum part.
Yeah, with the guys with the cages on their heads. How weird was that?
Yeah, that was
The
wild.
guards,
Well, I know what they were going for. They were kind of trying to make it like an old film, almost like an old silent film. They had that weird thing where it was kind of black and white, where you're showing London. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
interesting.
wild.
The sets, I mean, it looked terrific. Holy cow. To not have any.
Oh, sorry.
Well, to not have any CG. Oh, it's Sir Anthony.
Yes. Now that also was not the way he was in the book. Like, he wasn't crazy and all that. He actually was very compassionate and all that kind of stuff. And they had him like a little bit like not a sex maniac, but kind of weird. He used to always say like really weird, inappropriate things.
Yeah.
He's like the uncle at Thanksgiving that doesn't know we don't talk about that at dinner.
Oh yeah, how about the dinner whenever Jonathan and Mina come back? They come back from.
Yeah, they're having dinner. They're like, did Lucy suffer?
Yeah, did she suffer?
Yeah,
she suffered.
We drove a stake through her heart and cut off her head, set her on fire. Now she's rest in peace.
Yeah.
And while he's cutting up the
he's cutting up the roast. Yeah.
Well, we always, maybe it's because I was still a teenager when he said civilization and civilization went along together, and I was like, he said civilization.
Yeah.
I thought it was silly with him and Mina. When Mina kind of was seducing him.
Yeah.
And then she just randomly started yelling in some language. I don't know, some like spell. I don't know what the hell she was doing.
And now all of a sudden she's raising up this blue fire to block the. I mean, that was pretty weird.
And he was just standing there. Like, what the hell? Tell her to shut up.
Yeah, dude.
Haven't you ever read any of those things? You got to make them stop saying the spell. And then here we go. Look at that.
Oh, that's terrific. Yeah.
That was some creepy ass stuff. Yeah. First of all, what a weird wedding dress. Because that was supposed to be her wedding dress. I was like,
oh, that was,
yeah. Wow.
It looks like one of those lizards that had the in Jurassic Park. Hello, Newman.
The thing around her. Yeah.
No, but I thought that the stuff with her being a vampire, that was pretty cool. Actually, it was and then the way they did this in this crucifix scene where she goes and then falls back asleep. They actually filmed it in reverse to get that effect. I thought that was clever.
Yeah, that was neat.
It gave it a really weird effect.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Soul Assassin says she's a vampire bridezilla. Yeah, the wedding brown. Yeah. And I thought Carrie, am I saying the right? Elway's, Princess Bride dude. I thought he was completely wasted in this movie.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. I did like the gypsy chase scene though, the car chase on the hill and the shooting with the horses and all. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Old fashioned stuff. And then at the end, I guess God or something forgives it. I mean, it was a little bit like, okay, why? Just because he gets stabbed, he's okay now?
Well, now, and something else that got me, like, okay, it's a vampire. You got to drop stakes with their heart, you put them out in sunlight. He pops open, and so apparently if you cut their throat, that will debilitate them enough to where you can stab them, and then that's going to hurt. Why did all of a sudden these things become, you know, he didn't get stabbed with a wooden stake, and he didn't. There was no crucifix involved. He just pulled out his pocket knife and cut him across the throat. You know, right when he popped up out of the box. But suddenly that incapacitated Dracula long enough for him to stab him, and now he's got to lay on the steps and go into the church with Nina. I mean, that was kind of okay. Well, we got to do something. Well, cut his throat. That'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but they did accurately get that Dracula could actually move around by day. He just wasn't very strong.
Yeah. Exactly.
And he could move through moonlight and all sorts of weird stuff like that they did well. But I know what you mean. It didn't quite follow.
Well, all of a sudden he became more, I don't know, it was nighttime and he was popping up out of this grave. He's vulnerable enough to have his throat cut and for that to matter. Maybe he almost cut his head off. I don't know.
Yeah. No, hell, I don't know. I was laughing too hard through the whole thing, actually, because this time around it really was funny. I was like, okay, I'm sorry, this is not good. This is stupid. All right. Archer Collins says, Miss Martin Muse, I've never read the book. Was there an American in or was that character made for the U.S. audience? No, there was an American. Yes.
Yes.
There was.
Quincy
was a character from there, and he was
from Texas.
Texas, and he was a love rival for Lucy. So they had a little bit of rivalry between him and who was the other guy that was after Lucy?
Seward.
Yeah.
The doctor. So.
Yeah, in the book, she got 3 proposals in one day, but it was our author who she loved. And she actually, again, in the book, she wasn't this big kind of flirt. She wasn't even a flirt. She wasn't a slut or any weird stuff the way they had her. She was actually kind of very pure and maybe naive, and that was part of the horror, especially for a Victorian audience, that these ravishing women being ravaged by this horrible person, or non-person. Texas, yes. All hail the mighty state. And yes, he did die the similar way that he did in there. Yeah, well, it's true. What can I say? It was ridiculous. Some of the stuff was real, and how stupid was that scene where, like, when she's saying, "Take me away from all this death."
Oh my gosh!
And he's sitting there groaning. I mean, we know what they're trying to make it look like, and I'm just like, really, you dirty old man?
Yeah.
Making Winona Ryder and him do this. It's like, really? Yeah, Lady Turtle says she's the reincarnation of love that jumped in the river. Yeah, that according to the movie, but yeah, that wasn't in the book at all. And I'm sorry, but what kind of an idiot are you? Well, no, Elizabeth. I forgot that's what he was. Elizabeth. She gets a note from the bad guys that say he's dead. I mean, shouldn't she just like wait around?
Well, yeah.
Maybe he's not really dead yet.
No, I'm gonna immediately go jump out a window.
Exactly, and jump out a window. I saw a video that pointed that out, and also pointed out that how the hell did they get her body from all the way down that ravine and then drag her all the way back up so she's right in front of the altar and with the note and with her suicide note? Like, and to be honest, if she'd have jumped that high, she would not have looked that good.
No, I wouldn't think so at all. Not if she got done bouncing off the rocks and into the water now.
Yeah, she would not have looked good. Yeah.
I think they took it from the real life lad that one of his wives did jump out the window.
Oh. No, well, I would too. No. Yeah, they made Lucy kind of a freak. Yeah, they were looking at like sex books on. Yeah, they wouldn't have been able to touch those books. They didn't have the internet back then. I mean, they wouldn't have been able to get a copy. Oh yes, Jack Palance. I remember that one. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay, and he says that story element was youth in that. Okay, yeah, that's stupid. Yeah, she wasn't a crumpled pile of flesh and broken bones. Yeah. Oh gosh, no way. Okay, this is Archer. Colin says, "Of course she didn't have the strength to wait. She was Elisa Beta, not Alpha."
Oh Lord.
Yes. My love. I mean, oh gosh, it hurt. It hurt so bad. um, I mentioned it in the original when I was talking about it, that the music though, gosh, the music was good, and I think it won some awards like for the costumes and the sets and cinematography,
Cool.
and those were well deserved.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And the practical effects were terrific.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up about it. And like I said, I think they did a good job for the most part of showing Jonathan Harker's journey in it. I think that was pretty accurate to the book, and the I guess the ending where they do end up going back to Transylvania or Pennsylvania or wherever the hell it is. And I get confused because the original story, because of like World War I and World War II and all that, where they were kept changing because communism. Yeah. So and yeah, a lot of people are talking about the accents. Yeah, the accents were atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. The only good one, I guess, was, well, I thought Gary Oldman's was fine, and of course Anthony Hopkins, because he really was a Brit.
Yeah.
And the guy who played Quincy or whatever, he was an American. So, yeah. Well, and of course, Princess Bride dude. What is Dracula's phone number? 1/2. Or is it 1/2? I'm not sure I get that joke. Because I don't get jokes very well. 2 out of 2. Transylvania.
65,000. Oh man, that movie. Lordy.
Okay, I got it. Hard. Yeah, we're bringing the jokes here. We're bringing the jokes here. All right, and yeah, please feel free. I know some of you have been doing it already to throw out maybe different Draculas and discuss it, et cetera. Anthony Hopkins wasn't playing a Brit. Oh yeah, you're right.
He's Dutch. He's supposed to be Dutch.
That's right.
Busted. Yeah, I guess. I don't know any Dutch people out there who knows if he was doing that right. Yeah. Oops. Yeah, he Anthony, but he stole the show almost because first of all, he's Anthony friggin' Hopkins. I mean, that man
exactly.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's absolutely amazing. And gosh darn it, it's I don't have a literature degree to hand back in. I have no excuse. Absolutely no excuse. Hello, everyone coming in. Hello, welcome to Smart Muses. We're talking about the Draculas. Please go ahead and share your favorite Draculas. We've just done 3 of them. They did do some in the like Netflix and stuff later. I haven't bothered to watch. Maybe they suck. Maybe they don't. I don't know. But we're gonna go ahead and do our ratings for Bram Stoker's Dracula. So Eddie, buy that lottery ticket. Go for it.
I'll give it an 8, mostly because of the fact I feel like it just bogged down. It got so caught up in that whole story arc of the reincarnation, and then, like you said, all of the gratuitous just stuff. I just felt like it wasn't. It just bogged it down, so it got a little slow for me. Mm-hmm. But an 8 because of the way it looked and the Anthony Hopkins performance.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's definitely worth watching. How about you, Maureen?
Okay, if he's gonna get totally just balled out here. It's my favorite Dracula. I don't care what y'all say. It's Gary Oldman. I don't mind the safety time because it's like, it's Gary Oldman. So it's going to be like a 9.5, 10 for me because Gary Oldman.
Okay. No, you're allowed to have your opinion. I'm a hater. I admit it. I'm a hater. No.
And I love Lucy's nightgown. Like, I want a nightgown like that.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've nothing. I guess like it's just you just don't see that in 1897. I guess that's all. Oh gosh, it's terrible. Now you're gonna hate me. We're never gonna talk to each other ever again. I'm.
She's like, I get.
Yeah.
Let me guess. A 5.
Oh no, I'm not that bad. I'm not that bad. That's not fair. That's not fair to give it a 5. I'm giving a 7.5.
Okay.
For a lot of the reasons that I've said previously, Gary Oldman, the good performances, the sets, the music, the presentation, but oh my gosh, the plot, it just hurts. It hurts too much. I just couldn't. I couldn't.
Yep.
Maybe when I was a stupid teenager, I liked it, but I just laughed my butt off every time Winona Ryder was even practically on the screen, and it's terrible because I shouldn't feel that way about Mina. But yeah, so yeah, haters gonna hate. All right. Well, I guess we kind of it's not a Dracula, but there's the interview with the vampire, which the more I hear about it, the more I'm like, I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. It sounds horrible.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah.
Now there was a movie. Somebody just mentioned Shadow of the Vampire. I think. Yeah. That is a terrific film. I mean, it really is. If that's the one with Willem Dafoe. Yeah. Didn't he play? It's about the filming of Nosferatu. So it's like a movie about a movie being created. So you give it an idea of what went into silent film production and stuff. But it's a terrific film.
Yeah. No. Well, okay,
and Gary Yules is in it.
All right. Well, maybe I'll have a look at it. Bush McFadden, he agrees with. He says without Gary Oldman holding this movie together, it would have been about as structurally sound as the IKEA end table infested with
termites.
Yeah. And then Soul Assassin said, "At least Dracula didn't sparkle."
Oh yes, exactly. Oh, good lord! I know
she
you
says, "I love Interview with the Vampire. The books are wonderful." Yeah. This. Despite being done by apparently her son being part of it, Christopher, is that his name? Rice. I've been hearing some things that they changed, and far beyond like making Luis a brothel owner thing. I've heard some really, really bad departures that they have done, and things that I don't want to see. I'll just put it that way. Tad that shouldn't be says the Interview with the Vampire TV show is utter trash. It basically wokeifies and replaces the entirety of what Anne wrote in the novel in woke terms. Yeah. I've heard about something incredibly blasphemous. And listen, I know it's a vampire show and there's going to be blasphemy, but they did something really, really weird and sick from what I've heard about how they transformed Lewis. Yeah, they've changed a lot. Archer Collins says, I was a bit wrong. Dracula did indeed tell Kitty the cross didn't work because she was Jewish. It was Wolverine who Nightcrawler saved with his belief. Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem. I wouldn't have known. But no, no, that sounds good. Thank you for correcting yourself. Bush McFadden saw the first Twilight movie because of the chick I was dating. That's what a lot of, that's true. It happens to a lot of men. I refused to lie to her. I hated it.
Yeah.
Said that shouldn't be says Lewis basically gives another interview and says he lied in the first one due to being a prep. What?
Oh my gosh! Oh no!
You've got to be kidding me! I did not hear that. But really.
Yeah.
I'll
just watch the Tom Cruise one.
Yeah, if you want to, yeah, that or hell, watch Twilight. I watched Twilight before that crap. And I've watched all the Twilights. I am not ashamed, and I've read all the books. I mean, it's a very guilty pleasure. So it is what it is. Well, we need to wind up this party. I'm going to say thank you for everyone that has been here in the chat. You know, we've had Boosh, Shane, Archer, Colin, Tad that shouldn't be. Let's see. Soul Assassin, Corey's here. If I miss anyone, I sincerely apologize. Of course, we've had Lady Toriel. We had an elf in the house, as well as Sean Sue. Mr. Brown Alliance was here, and others. Tomorrow, coming up here on Miss Martin Muses, we are going to be having a the continuing of the Sword of Shannara. The Sword of Shannara, we have actually only two left. Coming up tomorrow and then the next Saturday, and before we go on to the next one, which will be the second of the Sword of Shannara. And if you're looking ahead, after we finish the Shannara trilogy, we're going to be doing the first two books of the Rift War saga, The Magician Apprentice and Magician Master. So stay tuned for Miss Smart Muses. And I might be doing some of my daily musings. It just completely depends on my schedule and everything that's going on in my life. So once again, thank you, Eddie, and thank you, Maury, for being here. This has been a great discussion. I've had loads of fun. I mean, talk about going down memory lane. Yes. Well, thank you, Shansu. I appreciate that. And I think I'm the only show you all are ever on, but if you were going to be on something else, this is where we'd share. But of course, always great to see you here. And I think that Soul Assassin's been putting Maury's Twitter on there. Thank you very much. And on Instagram, she has a lot with her cat. Her cat is a star. Lots of cat videos. And yes, there was a Shannon TV show, but we pretend it doesn't exist. I haven't even seen it, and I'm not planning on it. So have a great day, everyone. Have a great day, and be certain, if there's a vampire hanging out, don't open your windows, don't take off the crucifix or the garlic, and stay friggin' inside.
Unless it's